years ago, and there was this, there was a bloke who worked there
Called Mick. It's not like that.
and I remember I was sort of like I'd sit there reading The Guardian, and they'd all sit around reading The Sun, playing cards, and I'd read some interesting article by Hugo Young, something, and chuckle quietly to myself and go. And he'd go, "What's that you're reading? Is it funny?" And I go, "Yeah, it's quite funny." And they go, "Go on, read it out then." And it'd be some wry observation. I'd go, "The Prime Minister's recent policy," and they go, "Is that funny?" And I remember once this guy, and they all took the rise out of me. So I was working at this plant, and there was all these I was sort of loading chemicals into containers and things, and there was one chap who said, "Mick's coming along now. He's coming along in his stacker truck." He said his grandma's been knitting in this sweater for years. When he comes past, just have a go at him. Just say, "Your grand finished knitting that sweater for you yet?" You know. I went, "Oh, OK, I'll join in. I want to be one of the gang, because I'm a student. I want to fit in with these working-class people." And so so Mick came to his stacker truck like that. "Hey, Mick, has your gran finished knitting that sweater yet?" And he went, "She lost her arms in a milling machine." I didn't know. He told me to say it. I turned around, this bloke said, "I don't know what you're talking about." And he said, "I'm going to get you later." And I was leaving the premises later on. He ran up to me like that, and he went, "Ah, we had you go in there, didn't we?"
When you started out in entertainment, were you doing basically impressions?
I was doing impressions, I was doing voiceovers. I saw an advert that said voiceover artist required to overdub crap early 70s foreign films. And I went off the audition, and I knocked on the door and said, "Is this the interview for overdubbing crap early 70s foreign films?" And a guy came to the door and said, "Yes, come in, sit down. So you want to overdub crap early 70s foreign films, do you?" And I said, "Yes, do you think I'm cut out for the job?" He went, "No, you've got it all wrong. Your voice shouldn't suit you at all. When you lose your temper, it should be like this. Hey, you!"
So was that you when you were a schoolboy? You used to do impressions of the teachers?
Yes, I used to stand in front of the mirror and do impressions, amongst other things. Yeah, it was you know, most people were in the bathroom sort of squeezing spots, and I was in there perfecting a Norris McWhirter impression.
Now, in your stage show, which you've taken on tour around the country and now doing in London, you get the full gallery of your characters. So unlike going to see a lot of comedians stage show, they just come on and talk into a microphone for a couple of hours. You do the whole
I may not
range.
be funny, but I give value for money. There's Tony Farino, Paul Calf, Pauline Calf, Alan Partridge, and another character called Duncan Thicket.
Quite raunchy. I mean, all of your characters are a bit, as I was saying, a bit rude and foul-mouthed, aren't they?
Yeah. It's sort of dumbed down slightly for the stage, because you have to sort of.
Well, theatre goers are more stupid than TV viewers. Is that what you're saying?
Well, mine are. Yeah. You really sometimes on the front row when you're doing a show, there'll be some young chap who's been brought by his parents, and the young chap on the front row clearly thinks I'm fantastic, and his parents think I'm rubbish, right? Yeah. And they're sitting there like this. All the way through, doesn't matter what I do, and then they're just going like that. And the most I'll get, sometimes I'll like my biggest laugh of the night, and I'll just check to see what their expression is. and I'll get this. It'll change from that to. And that's it, isn't it?
You've done more sort of straightforward acting. I saw you in the Fix on television. It was a very good drama about. But there was not a comedy at all, really, was it?
No, to me it's like a holiday for me. People say, "Oh, drama's very serious." That's great. You don't have to make anyone laugh. You know, just say the lines.
But you were playing a tabloid journalist in that, so were you tempted to make him really hideous?
Well, yes, I could have done, because I don't know if you know, but I hate tabloid journalists.
Yes.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Is that because they've written nasty stuff about you, or just as a general policy?
No, I like to think I hated them before they started writing stuff. But no, I could have done. It's very easy, you know, when you're doing something like that to try and. There's a kind of cliche about tabloid journalists about doing them all sort of oily, sort of oiks, but they're not. They're kind of. Just like you and me.
Well, do you still do impressions? Because you were really quite young. You were at the sort of Sunday night at the London Palladium with Jimmy Tarbuck doing...
Yes. Yes.
Do you look back on that fondly? Can you...
I just look back on it.
Yes.
Well, I was on Sunday night at the London Palladium as, here he is, Steve Cooghan. He's a cracking young comic. He's got some lovely... in those days, like... He doesn't do jokes, he does observations. Here he is with his observations. I mean, basically, look, let's be honest, we're trying to find a way to gem in a few impressions here, aren't we, Clive?
Yes.
Why don't I just reel off about 3 or 4, and then we can read them?
I'm doing a satire on Alan Partridge.
I used to do Michael Caine, who speaks like... He'd have 2 ways of speaking. One is like that, when he'd shout very loudly, and the other one is when he's getting very emotional. His voice would start to break, and he would start to crack up. And I used to do... There's 3 more.
Yeah.
There's 3 more.
That's a very poor impression. You didn't put the glasses on. You put the glasses on.
I should say it might go.
Yeah.
You know, I can do Ronnie Court, but that was good evening. Yeah, I remember the day I was on. I remember the day I was on Clive Anderson quite clearly. Yeah, because it was the one day in the year. It was the one day in the year when Allied carpets weren't having a sale. I used to do a lot of sort of impressions of voiceover people. The late Brian Glover, who I adored, was sort of cornered the market in very broad northern voice, like, you know, bread's better without taken out. You know, Chetleys make tea bags. And I thought, he sort of... And the tragedy, really, was that he was limited in that way because, you know, he couldn't, for example, say, you know...
New Lillettes, very thick wadding, very absorbed.
You can...
You can...